$1,912.71. EFTs, $77,326.21, for a total of $653,238.92.
Move to approve.
Support.
Any discussion?
I see we're paying off one of the leases, we got one lease left, is that true?
Yes.
Yes. Anything else? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
We do this, huh?
Should be a GFT, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Missing places to sign here. Gary signed as vice chairman.
Oh, the wrong stamp back.
Yeah, there, yeah, you need three spots, basically, so it's five. Just,
Line right in there like that.
yeah.
That's what I'll do.
No.
We'll leave Gary's spot.
Oh.
That overcome improvise.
You ever spend any time in the military?
No, but I grew up with a World War II veteran son. I didn't have to join the military.
That was enough of a regiment to follow.
His favorite saying was, "You better get to moving, or there's gonna be a big operation." I say, "What was that? Getting my foot out of your..."
Yeah.
Backside, right?
And I got to move.
Sometimes I didn't move fast enough, but I
That's
still
right,
got it.
and you got it anyways, yeah.
Payroll dated July 18th for a total of $137,021.90.
I move we pay the payroll for $137,021.90.
Are there two payrolls or just the one?
Should be just
one.
Just the one.
Katie,
My total is different than that.
yeah, $136,227.62.
I will remind her to double check it again, because I asked her specifically to make sure your numbers match, and I guess she didn't.
So we're
So
going
we've got to do a correction here?
Well, we can correct it on the
to
agenda,
actual
and I'll have her correct it on the agenda before it gets posted.
So what is the number?
It's whatever's on that payroll.
Is it the July 18th payroll? Cause this is July 27th. The check register, I guess I've never.
It should be, that line, I guess she didn't update that line on the agenda.
So this should be July 27th?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
the dollar amount on the tape here is 136,227.62.
I
It
amend,
didn't, when she did the agenda, she did not update that line.
Okay.
so this is the amount.
That is the amount on the payroll register.
136,
136.
227.62.
Then I amend my motion.
For the July 27th payroll in the amount of 136.
227.62.
Yeah. Okay.
Did we have support on that?
I'll support that.
Any more discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries.
I was looking at this agenda.
Yeah.
Well, I happened to catch that, well, that's not the same amount, but I was trying to remember. Is there
That's
another
why-
one? Is there a reason why it's off? And
That's
Mary
why
got
it's
the
good
question
to
out
have-
before I did.
That's why it's good to have an accountant on the board.
Yes.
Well, it's good that people are looking, I like that.
Yeah.
This one's not. Oh, I got two of them. Okay. Well, one of these has to be on and one like the other. Where is this? I got this one.
it's got 100%.
That it for them? Treasurer's report.
Beginning cash and investment balance is $2,339,762.17. Total receipts is $842,131.79. Total bills and payroll is $789,466.54. Bonds and escrow is $10,250. CD reserve for 2 trucks is $651,282.82. Ending available fund balance is $1,730,894.60. Total outstanding accounts payable is $53,739.36.
You don't think it's a credit?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It didn't get,
Okay.
I know it's
I
not
was
a
wondering why there was such a big credit.
Yeah.
It's not a credit.
credit. It's not a credit.
Okay.
Any questions? If not, stand as presented. Thank you. All right, we've got a few minutes, we could jump to public comment. Any public comment? Alan?
Does my heart good to see all those orange trucks out there on Banker Road. I didn't know you guys had so many trucks.
You sure they're ours?
Yes, I am.
No, I just,
Branch County did stuff over here.
I drove by and I read the sign.
Anybody else? Doug, anything? No? Oh, that's short public comment. Want to give us some lowdown?
Yeah, let me start. All of our paving that was contracted to the townships this year is done. They fixed North Adams Road at Somerset, that bad dip that was there that had caused a couple accidents yesterday. Today, they're fixing a bad spot on Jerome Road, just south of Wood Road, where the road's dipped off real bad in that swampy spot. That's about it for the paving. We've got a few cross cuts to pave in where we change tubes, but for the majority of the paving, that's done. The ditching in Litchfield Township on Sterling Road, all the ditching and deberming is done on Sterling. We haven't hauled the gravel yet. We started hauling Monday, but got rained off. We've got a few touch-up spots where the heavy rain washed out, but pretty much Sterling Road, once we get the gravel on it, will be done. Gravel patching and limestone patching is all completed. Scraping, everything has been scraped for the first application of brine. The brine right now is in Camden Township, and they should finish that today or tomorrow, and then everybody will have their first application. And then next week, we'll start on the second, scraping for the second application. They're crack sealing on Reading Road still. I think they've got about a mile left to do till they get Reading Road done. And then we'll see where we're at as far as seal coat, if we have enough people to keep running the crack sealer until we get done seal coating. We may have to stop crack sealing until we get finished seal coating. Shoulders, they should be finishing up Bankers Road today. We had a loader break down that we pushed the shoulder machine with, so we hadn't been back out there to get them finished. They should finish them today. When we get Bankers Road finished, we're gonna stop doing shoulders and get the hitches put on the trucks to start chip seal, because not next week, but the following week, we're planning on starting our chip seal. Asphalt materials is supposed to come in next week, I think Tuesday, and make sure our chip spreader's calibrated like it's supposed to be. And then when we start, we're kind of figuring on starting on the 19th, they're gonna come back and make sure the truck is calibrated when we start. That way we can just do it out on the road and not have to try to find
Right.
somewhere with a required amount of footage to do the measurement. So he said it'd just be easier to calibrate the truck when we started seal coating. I believe, and we, changed cross tube in catch basin on Russ Dick Drive where it was flooding. And the property owner put new tile to the ditch, so that job's done. We ditched where the flooding was, so that should take care of the flooding on Russ Dick. Other than that, that's about everything we've done, and we're gonna be starting chips seal, so that'll pretty much take everybody till we get done chip sealing.
I have a couple of questions. So are we gonna chip seal any of Montgomery Road that's been blacktopped in recent
Not
years?
this year.
Okay,
It's kinda on the docket for next year.
okay,
We wanna do Camden Road and Montgomery Road next year.
okay.
What about North Evans?
That'll be next year. Bankers Road is gonna get chip sealed this year because we are getting some type of safety grant where they're gonna put the rumble strip down the yellow line. So they're doing that this year, so we have to chip seal it this year, so we don't just fill up the rumble strip next year
Right.
with chip seal. So that one will be, that'll be like the third road. We're gonna redo Bacon and Bun, and then go do Bankers. So that when they're ready to come in and do that safety grant, we're done there.
So as far as the brine, you said you're nearly finished in Camden, and that'll be every township?
Every township will have had their brine, their first application.
So did we do Amboy before Camden or Woodbridge
Yes.
before Camden?
Yes, they did Amboy, then Woodbridge, and now they're in Camden.
Okay,
We went right across that bottom tier.
Now you're starting back.
We'll start back over. I think there's five or six townships that are doing 2 applications, and Fayette is doing 3 applications.
I probably don't have to tell you that all the gravels need to be re-scraped.
Yep, and yesterday we actually went and fixed scraped washouts from the heavy rains.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Couple of them I didn't want to because they'd just been sprayed, but I can't leave them big washouts either, so.
No.
And we've only had a couple complaints that we were scraping roads that were just sprayed, but.
Well, it's 10:15, so we can open the bids for timber bridge piling and deck installation.
I don't know, for you later.
The first one's from Millbacher.
Who?
Millbacher?
Bill.
Yep. Looks like that you guys just want a total bid price, or do you want the individual items?
Probably total, that's
Okay.
all I'll pay out.
The total bid price is $80,500.
And this is for the pile driving on the timber bridge?
Correct, and setting the structure.
Okay, and that was 80,000?
80,500. This one is from Adams Marine Construction out of Bentwater. Last page.
Holy
Okay, they did it individually. The driving timber piles, they said a unit price of $100. I'm not sure if that is each or per lineal feet, they did not specify that. Setting the deck is $15,000 lump sum. And mobilization is $26,000 lump sum.
Could you repeat the setting, please?
Setting the deck was $15,000 lump sum.
Is there anyone here from Adams? 'Cause we don't know what that's for.
Correct. I don't know how that works legally, but we'd have to reach out and get more information on that.
You want me to have Karen do it real quick?
Yes.
And
What was the mobile again?
the mobilization was $26,000.
Yeah, we need to
Do
do
they
that.
have a contact information on there?
I would assume they
Well,
filled.
that $100 is gotta be per,
It's either each or per
Pile.
lineal foot.
I bet it's each.
Here's the phone number. So
Yeah, they should have gave us
How many are there?
there are 16 piles.
That's gonna be more than $1,600 for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It can't be, that can't be.
It's gotta be per foot.
Per lineal foot, I'm sure.
Do we know how many
And that would
lineal feet?
depend on the length that they have to drive them.
Yeah, so it's up in the air on that one.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
So,
Right.
so how can the other one be a fixed number from Millbacher if it's per lineal foot and they don't know how many lineal feet they're going?
Oh, and this one for Millbacher, their individual ones was, they gave us a price for assisting panel placement, and that was $82.50. Cap placement for bearing, which they added that because that's what they did last time. We
Right.
did not include that in the bid
Right.
that we asked for. So that was $4,750 for that. And then install timber piling 8 each side includes mobilization is $67,500. So if you take their $80,500, you would wanna deduct the $47.50 because that's not comparing apples to apples with everybody else. They included that because they did it last time. But I'm assuming that they figured it similar to their previous years. That's what I would have to assume. That's why they had a better idea of.
Millbacher did Camden. didn't
Yes,
they?
they
Yes,
did.
that's what I mean. So they probably based it on that information is all I can think of. Okay, this one is from, I have no idea, Toledo Caisson Corporation? CAISSON. CAISSON. Toledo Caisson Corporation. Okay, their prices for driving timber piles, $3,500 each. Setting the deck was $6,000 lump sum. Mobilization, $5,000 lump sum.
How many pilings?
16.
3,500 times 16. That would be $56,000 for the timber piles, driving them. Plus the 6,000, plus the 5,000. That total should be 67,000. Yeah. So that's Toledo. And this is E.T. McKenzie, which is the last one.
Where are they out of?
Grand Ledge. Grand Ledge.
Grand Ledge.
And I assume Toledo Caisson was out of Toledo?
That would be my
Ottawa
guess.
Lake, Michigan.
What's that?
Ottawa Lake, Michigan.
Ottawa Lake, Michigan.
It's just north of Toledo.
Know where that's at? What was Adam Lane's total bid?
We don't have it all, cause we don't know how much they're gonna
Sure.
total for the driving the timber piles.
Hair's falling right now.
Yeah, and if it's $100 per linear foot, we don't know how many linear feet they're gonna drive them.
Right.
Guess send you to school to find out how to read their estimates.
Probably.
Well, this was all of our bid spec that we sent them,
So they sent it back.
and sent it back, cause there's different books that they had to fill out.
Page 16.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go. They just did a lump sum of $68,785. $68,785.
That's E.T. McKenzie.
That is correct. And that is it for Hog Creek.
So you said Millbacher also added an additional $47.50 for what?
The caps. Cap placement for bearing, $47.50. So you can deduct that from their $80,500 total.
What does that mean, cap placement for bearing?
Across the piles that they drive,
Yep,
there's like a big header.
okay,
They call that the cap.
okay,
They come in and they cut the piles all to the same height and they set that one piece header, so
Okay.
to speak, and get that nailed in and
okay.
to the right height.
So,
So both
the
of
rest of the
that.
bids don't have that in there?
That is correct.
But we
And
didn't
why
have-
wouldn't that be part of our specs? It sounds like you have to do that to set your bridge.
Cause we could do
Cause
it.
we could do it, but with
They
the,
just did
it's
it for us.
easier with
Yes.
their crane and they built so many of them.
Okay,
It was a thing we were new to. I mean, we've built 4 or 5 of these bridges, but they built so many of them, it's like second nature to them and they,
So-
Can you give me a total for Millbacher,
Millbacher's total with the optional cap,
we're taking that off?
okay.
I think it's 75, 750.
4750, should be $75,750.
But that's them not placing the cap.
Right.
That is correct, which nobody else is
Nobody
placing
else.
that either, so that would be your apples to
Did
apples
we
number.
find out about Adams?
She called and left a message, they did not answer. So,
so if we go with a lower bid and we want them to set the cap, we don't know what that will be.
that is correct.
But it wasn't in the spec.
It wasn't in the spec
Oh,
though, so
okay.
we really can't even include that number at all.
Well, and if you look at Millbacher's bid without the cost of setting the cap, they're still higher than
Correct.
the other two that have the same bid.
Are we capable of setting the cap?
We've done it before.
we've done it on them before. It was just, they were there. We had a fairly
Right.
new crew on that job, the crane was there. They said they didn't have a problem doing it, so they cut all the poles at the proper height and set it.
We do have to make a decision today, cause the bridge is coming before the next meeting.
Have we dealt with Toledo Cason or E.T. McKenzie?
Mackenzie, yes, Quezon, no.
Is there a representative from Toledo Cason here?
Right.
Is there a representative from E.T. McKenzie?
Yep.
Okay, so they could both give us, or answer, they could either give us a synopsis and or answer questions.
Yes.
So in terms of setting this cap, is this something that your company has the capability of doing?
Absolutely. We are doing bridges all over the country, Mobile, Alabama, Chambersburg, Pennsylvania right now, Flint, Michigan. We do tons of, civil contracting all over the country. A fleet of probably 25 or 30 cranes, fleet of drill rigs, probably 10 acres worth of machinery if it was all in one spot.
What do you guys think your estimate would be for setting that bearing on these pipes?
Just setting the bearing, cutting off the pile to grade and setting the cap. Oh,
We don't
I'm,
have to.
I didn't do the bid, but I'm sure that's not in the specs.
Yeah.
That's not in your specs.
No.
I'd have to get back with Jim Bennett, the owner, could get back with you on that. But they're absolutely, I mean, this would be a minor job in their scope of work. A lot of work in the refineries and all over. So the rig that was there, the service rig or the drill rig, would stay and set the grade beams.
About McKenzie, what would you estimate?
I hate to give you, I'd have to check too for a firm answer, but it wouldn't be a very involved process. Like he said, the equipment's there already, it's just a matter of suspending it from the crane. Could be done in conjunction with Hillsdale County personnel or with our own crew.
But to be
At
fair,
a very reasonable cost. I mean, you're not talking about a lot of time.
just to be fair, the mailbox would go.
And the latest update from Kren was that the bridge is looking more like end of August, middle of September that it would even be here. Wouldn't necessarily be here before your next meeting. It could come anytime. He said if everything worked absolutely perfect, it would be here the end of August. But he said, Charlie even read into it and said, I would expect it to be the middle of September.
Correct.
So we've got some time before it's gonna be here.
So the question I have is if we were to wait until our next meeting on the 22nd, is that something that any of these three firms could?
Would it mess with their scheduling though,
Yeah,
anyway?
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. Well, what?
And Adams came back and said it's per lineal foot.
How do
Their
we
price
know-
is per
How do
lineal
we
foot.
know how many linear feet it is?
You got a max of 30 foot per your abutment piles and a max of 20 foot for your wing wall piles.
Right.
I'll figure that quick.
Sure, no pressure.
Nothing to it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, don't put any more pressure on me. So. Feel free to talk about something else, guys.
Yeah.
We're listening to the calculator.
Well, at max, it'd be 48,000.
See, she's quicker.
At 16 piles at 30 feet times 100 is $3,000 per.
Right.
So at max, it'd be 48. It should be a little less. I don't know what's the difference between the 20 foot versus the 30 foot. I don't know how many of them are. I don't know if it's half and half or 4 and, I don't know.
Right.
So at
48,
48 plus
68,
15,
62, 62, 67,
89,000.
yeah.
I guess there is.
Well, they're also coming from Petwater. Probably coming to Surface Drilling. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know where mailbox.
Is that what you come up with, that?
Are they coming
Sure.
from both?
Or did you quit?
I quit.
Exactly what she does is mid tab.
Yeah,
Says something
Alright.
good.
It's not gonna be exact because
We're gonna put around.
you're gonna have to figure max. Because that's, it might not be that maximum number, but yes, we'll be able to have a maximum number for that.
So for the 12 abutment piles, you got 360 linear feet max. For the 8 wing wall piles, you have another 160 feet. So 360 plus 160 is 520 times $100 a linear foot, it's $52,000.
Now see how easy he did that?
Yeah,
Nothing to it.
so much pressure.
I kind of do it every day.
Makes a difference.
Well, I had a sneaky suspicion that breakdown of the quotes for setting the deck and the mobilization work was substantially higher than Cleo Caisson, for example. I had a feeling that the total on the footage for driving the pilings is gonna be higher too, so, you know, it doesn't, I guess. Just taking a look at some of the numbers, doesn't surprise me they're bids so high.
I think we really do probably ought to make a decision, cause I don't know what time frames there
I
are.
know, we don't need to.
As far as the bridge coming and then turning at the same time.
Before you make a decision, do we have to open the other bids?
Oh, there are other bids?
10:30?
Well,
That's for aggregate.
Right,
Yeah.
but do we have to open them at 10:30?
Right.
Yes,
it's
we
at
do.
Okay.
10:30.
I'm sorry.
so we're gonna leave this open.
For the moment.
We'll
Just for the moment while
Right,
we open
we'll
these
come
bids.
back to it. I forgot about 10:30. Is there, do we have somebody that's actually gonna write these down, so I don't have to?
So I have a thought before we open these bids. So you two gentlemen, could you make a telephone call and get us a quote for what it would cost to set the caps? So that we could know that within 15 minutes.
Absolutely.
Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah,
Reasonable, then we
Very
don't
good.
know.
because these two are very close and then, although but they both know the information, so.
Last year,
We can make a
Bob
decision and get this project on the road.
looked at them and then he approved them as whatever, approved
We
them
approve
all
them all,
as.
yeah.
Because last year we did not read through each individual and then whoever wanted it, Karen filled all this out and it got emailed out to them.
Right,
And if-
right.
and if they
This
go
is
to
the
that,
average.
then makes
We
the
would-
project go quicker.
Okay, so this is
Save
Stone Co.
People for somebody else.
Okay.
So do you want her to read through every single one of them or do
No.
how we did last year?
Yeah, what do you do then?
We read them, didn't we?
We didn't read them all.
What did we do last year?
Last year, we approved, he didn't read every single one of these, he approved all of
We
them
approved
to
them
be
all.
as
Oh, we
what fits for
approved
the,
all of the bids.
yes,
And then we
What
would
works
just
best.
select the cheapest one for the
For-
material we would
Yeah.
buy.
For township.
and then
road.
Karen filled out this form, so whoever that needed it had it, and then I had it attached to our minutes and made it available for
Sound
whoever
good?
needed it.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
So,
so we have a bid from Stone Co.
And then I can have it available for whoever wants it.
Right.
Once it gets filled in, I can take their information. That's a lot of,
If they get it filled in, could you email it?
yeah, I can email it to everybody. It'll be in the minutes too for you guys to approve next meeting.
I can't help it, I gotta read through these pages and see where it's coming from. There's no name though.
So overall, while she's doing that, can you give me an overview as to why it's done by Hillsdale Garage, Osseo Pit, so on and so forth, and then by Stone Co. of Shannon, Carr Brothers, Siegel, Gerken, and Van Brunt?
Mileage.
Some will deliver it to specific garages, some won't, some only give pickup prices. Some will only bid on specific material,
Okay.
and it's whatever's
Benefits.
benefits us, so if we're in
Stay
high
right down
Osseo
to-
Pit, and that's where it would have just that specific material dumped there, if that, we chose that.
And these bid prices that they give us does not require us to exclusively buy all materials from them?
No.
Okay, alright,
Carr Brothers was the other one, and Shannon Excavating was the third. So you got Stone Co., Carr Brothers, and Shannon Excavating.
And the other
Van
ones did
Brunt
not.
didn't bid?
That's where we get our limestone.
That's all the bids we have,
Van Brunt didn't bid for limestone?
just those three.
Was
He
he,
must be making too much money hauling grain.
was he sent a bid?
I would assume.
We're,
I would,
No idea.
because George asked me the other day if we were gonna start stockpiling ahead of time.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Those are the three.
Huh.
and who's to say that any of those other ones even bid limestone?
Right.
Well, but Van Brunt is all
Forever, that's what.
limestone for
They
years.
shouldn't even bid, so.
I move to approve all three
Nothing
bids.
but Durkin?
Before we do that, I do have Larry Siegel called me a couple days ago, and he didn't bid on it, but the sand is available. If in an emergency situation, the loader would be there and the sand's available in an emergency situation.
So with Van Brunt, we pay him to haul in the limestone. Do we actually buy the limestone from him as well? Yes, okay.
Carr Brothers did not bid limestone.
Stone Cold probably did.
Shannon
Okay.
didn't either.
Yeah, Shannon wouldn't.
Who was this one? Stone Co. did. Bid it.
So we
The
don't like
lady
bid on
just correct.
This is delivered, there's prices on delivered
Okay, that's,
That's all
for
right.
Stone Co.,
I just
so.
wanted to make sure that Stone
Yep.
Co. didn't just price the material and not.
And then,
If we approve all bids, it don't matter whether they bought it from them, or they didn't, or they delivered, or they didn't. Well, they'll pick whichever one's the cheapest one when they decide who they're gonna take.
So because it was a bid process, can Van Brunt submit something separately, subsequent to?
Probably not now, just past the date.
Mm-hmm, cause it'll take sealed bids as of today.
But if we approved all of them, it's not like we're picking one over the other, so can we add to that? I don't know.
It's not fair to the other bidders, cause they had a deadline to,
and who's to say the information couldn't have got snuck out to them?
that
They
these
could have
guys
raised their
were-
bid lower than
Right.
these bids, so we can't, legally, I don't think that that's appropriate.
I would guess that we didn't get a bid.
That's what I'm guessing.
My thought is, I think we need to reach out to
Van Brunt?
Van Brunt and, put this bidding back for 2 weeks.
But we've opened them, does that matter? I don't know, this is a new one on me.
Yeah.
We open them, it's gonna be posted, again, then that information is out to,
Right. I think you gotta take the bids that you got. And that's what you gotta use.
Cause
So where is, if Stone goes in when they has bid limestone, Van Brunt usually only does limestone, what is that price this year as compared to last year? And, because I'd hate to just go with that and find out it's ungodly higher than what we've been paying
Do you
and
remember
say that
what
we're
Van
stuck with that.
Van Brunt's like 23,
3.
24.
For 23A limestone delivered to the Hillsdale garage, it is $24.75.
And we don't usually have it delivered here, so what about the outside pits?
Yeah, the only
But it
thing-
don't matter.
we-
They-
we-
Osceola Pit, still $24.75.
So then they're.
Watkins is $26.45. Stevens Pit is $24.25. Pittsburgh Pit is $24.25.
I'm gonna call Dave halfway and bid.
McClellan is
But no matter what-
$26.45.
What if he never got the packet?
It don't matter, we opened the bids.
Yeah, but what if he never got the
I
packet?
think we have
Was the package
the
sent?
ability to,
Then should we ask them to rebid? I don't know, I don't know what's right.
I don't know how this process goes.
just find out from Dave.
Oh, sure.
it would seem to me, we could say, we're gonna rebid the thing.
Well,
Ow,
here's my thinking, Van Brunt
we can't.
Call Dave
doesn't
and
have
not,
limestone,
right.
he buys his from Stone.
Yes.
Well, does
So
he
either
buy
way,
it-
Stone Co's getting, so it's just the trucking.
Does he buy it from Stone Co. or does he buy it from some other?
Well,
Yeah,
he goes
I
to
believe this
Toledo,
comes right out of Stone.
he gets it right out of
I just can't believe
that,
that
that,
he's hauled our limestone for the last 3 or 4 years and didn't bid.
yeah.
Or-
But see, he's doing the back one.
Okay, so my question is if he buys it from Stone Cold, did he bid it separate, or did we just buy it from Stone Cold and Stone Cold hires him to haul it? I don't know, I don't know. how
He
the-
bids it separate.
He bids it separate, okay, alright. Then again, I don't know the answers to these questions.
Bob's trying to find out.
And for me, part of the concern I have is, you know, if we go with somebody else, do they have the capability of hauling all the limestone we need on a timely basis?
Exactly, that's,
And
We
and
never
would,
run into that.
and if we go with Stone Cold, if they're the only ones that give us a number, do they subcontract the hauling or do they haul it themselves? I don't know if they have trucks.
They might do that too.
So maybe Van
And
Brum
maybe-
is in cahoots with Stone Cold,
That's
that's
what
why they're
I'm
doing
kind
it
of
this.
alluding
Maybe,
to.
I don't know.
It's all speculation.
Right, it's all, again, cause I don't know if Stone Cold has their own trucks, or if they subcontract that, so.
I mean,
Point
this is
if
for,
they gave us a delivery price, then that, all the trucking is in that.
Correct, but I don't know if Stone Cold has Stone Cold trucks that hauls it,
um,
or they would subcontract it to Van Brum.
Yeah.
So Van Brum's still hauling it,
Still.
potentially, I don't know,
mhm.
that's why I'm asking
But we'll
questions.
find
I
out.
don't know either.
Yeah.
Well, I learned.
The fact remains, we put bids out, we advertise them at a certain date at a certain time,
Yeah, you're,
you gotta follow it.
Just mailing it was
He's
not the
fine.
only, was not the only way. It went to MIDA, it went to the website, and the newspaper, and we mailed out.
I agree that.
It's a choice.
yeah, everybody's, we gotta follow the
Can't
rules.
make an exception.
But that's kind of, I'm still kind of curious.
Mhm.
I'd like to find out if we could get weight for 5 minutes.
No better than the mail system around here is.
Yes.
Get stuff 3 months later after you mail it.
I ordered a pair of shoes in Wisconsin a couple of years ago when COVID was on. And I finally went to the post office in Jonesville, it's coming from Wisconsin. And I asked them if the ship sank coming across Lake Michigan, because I haven't found out when my shoes were, you know. It was like 3 or 4 months. The guy says, I know where your shoes are. The postmaster said, they're in a semi-trailer up at Allen Park. I finally got them. I hated to bend barefoot.
Hey, you need them real bad?
Yeah. Well, I got special feet. My mother always used to say she'd rather have buying the boxes, have you wear them instead of the shoes.
So it's just like more like work, which is fine. But
Anyway, sat here too long, was axed.
Well, what's the difference between 23A limestone and H1 limestone?
Kevin,
Kevin, what's the difference between 23A limestone and H1 limestone?
I don't know what the H1 is, a
Is
lot
that
of
more
it's the
riprap?
size of the stone and how much like pressure dust
Right.
is in it.
How much dust is in it?
So we primarily buy 23A limestone.
23A
and
is what
chicken.
we buy for our limestone
We're,
patching.
we're gonna have to accept the bids we've got.
Right.
Okay.
Didn't want to, but I called Bob says we have to.
Okay.
We'll accept any and all.
Hmm?
Each one is a coarser stone.
Each one is a coarser stone.
Where's your?
Guess I've never heard.
I so move.
I'll support.
Any more discussion? If not, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Okay, we got that done.
It'll. Yeah, yeah.
so
no idea, that's all.
So we had bids from Stone Co. and Shannon and
Car Brothers.
Carver.
And bring me inside. And not, I don't tell her phone, that she'll take this letter around.
Just because that's my maiden name.
Right.
Right.
So Gherkin, is that the pit there in Jonesville?
Yes.
And how big are they? How come they
And
didn't
they
put
have
it,
a pit down on,
so how come they didn't put a bid in for anything? I mean, does that
Either
make
busy
sense?
or act,
Right.
they're so busy they can't.
yeah, and a lot
Do
of,
it.
like their Keystone and stuff. Down there on Trip Road, that's all spoken for at Menards.
Oh, why does Menards buy a lot of
Their
these?
cement factory is what I was told.
Menards, the,
It's a distribution thing, they make cement blocks or something.
oh,
Okay.
okay, alright, didn't know that.
They,
He never received a bid, and neither did Gherkin.
Didn't receive them.
How many others did we send out?
That Karen did it, I don't know.
They never,
I'm of the opinion, I know we voted to approve these bids, but I really think, you know, we should have rejected the bids and rebid them.
because, even Gherkin didn't, Dave called Gherkin, they never got a bid sheet or a bid tab.
I don't know how to go about this. To me, it's like we did a sealed bid, said they were due today.
But if they never received it,
But it's also advertised on MIDA and things like that to where that
Right.
goes out
It's
to
all
those
they
businesses.
should have.
It's
Everybody
everybody.
gets it.
Just because.
Because then it's
what-
not fair
It's not
to
fair that
people
we
that
didn't
bid.
randomly mail it to somebody else that we don't normally do business with, but we just mailed it to the normal people. But
Right.
if the mail's slow and it didn't get to them, they still can get it on MIDA, they can get it on our website, they can get it on Cray.
they don't go to that.
I know,
So
but,
if anybody would, it'd be Gherkin,
right,
and they don't go to it, because they never got a bid tab.
right.
Because we usually have a lot more bidders than what we got.
Do we ask our legal counsel whether we can, not accept these bids and rebid it?
Was there language in the bid that said we have the right to reserve, we reserve the
Reject.
right to reject any and all bids?
We've always got that.
Right.
Well, I gotta verify, not assume. I didn't do the bid, I know nothing. What is in this bid?
We voted on a motion to approve.
I know, it's
We
already.
can rescind,
But
Yeah,
we can rescind it.
and,
Let me call Bob and see what he says.
Yeah.
If you guys can go ahead and
I
get.
mean, these prices are for next year, right? They're
Right.
not for this year.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, therefore, we're trying to get them earlier this year, so when we do township agreements, we have the
Yeah.
correct information.
right, and they.
if they did a rebid, these three companies who submitted bids would have that information as well
Yeah.
to work off of and resubmit bids.
Yeah, exactly.
They would, but when we post the board meeting online, all those other companies have access to what they bid and then,
Correct, that's
Bid
what
less.
I understand, but, and again, Bob's talking to Bob.
yeah.
But this information would be available to everybody, it's not like it's just the
Oh, no.
people in this room have that information or anything. So,
After the board meeting, yes.
yeah,
But they do have their own cost reduction and everything, so I mean, they're not gonna slit their throat just to get.
no. And they already know that we're gonna accept all bids,
Mm-hmm.
we're not just gonna accept one bid. So, but anyway, I don't know, we're getting guidance here, we'll see what.
If you vary from the fact that we had a bid price, a time and a day, if you vary from that, that can happen all year long.
Mm-hmm.
It can happen to everybody, anytime, I mean, no reason for having a bid process anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess my thinking is, you know, if you're putting these in the mail and you're just sending them out first-class mail, in today's first-class mail, the reliability of it getting
It's in the paper too, isn't it?
delivered.
There's an ad in the paper too.
Well,
Who
how many-
gets the Hillsdale
Yeah,
paper
exactly.
anymore?
I'm just saying, that's what we do.
No,
That's
I
all.
understand,
I get
what,
it.
I understand, I understand what your policy is, you know, and I understand that people are responsible, I get that. But we also know that our first class mail is not what it used to be. And so, for those that we actually send bid packages to, do you follow up at least with one phone call and say, hey, we sent this out, did you receive it? And then at least there's communication.
I've got the wording right here. It says, first of all, it says the contract will be awarded to the most responsible bidder whose bid conforming to this solicitation will be most advantageous to the county, price and other factors considered. The county reserves the right to accept or reject any or all bids and to waive informalities and irregularities in bids or bid procedures and to accept any bid determined by the county to be in the best interest of the county, even though not the lowest bid.
Okay,
And it says the county reserves the right to postpone the bid opening for their own convenience. And the county reserves the right to reissue the request for bid.
Oh,
we're
there
gonna
you go.
rescind our vote.
Okay.
First of all, we'll have to have a motion to rescind that vote.
I so move.
I'll support the motion.
Any more discussion on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Then we will, put it up for bids at a later date.
Okay.
Bob seemed very unusual that we didn't get bids from all these others.
Yeah, it's right in the bid papers that went out, it says that, so I think we're
Ken
covered.
said even Beckman Scrivens puts in a.
Right.
Yeah, back in the scrimmage.
Yeah, nothing from that.
So we need to make
Well, they
sure.
weren't, they weren't in this, okay.
I think we need to go back to last year's and send it to everybody.
That's what she did, well,
But I
Ow.
think that somebody's comment, maybe Kathy or whatever, is that, you know, after it gets sent out a few days later, somebody on our end needs to take the time to make a telephone call to every one of these organizations and make sure they receive the bid package.
I have to
Is
do
it-
that with checks anymore.
Is it possible we can still mail them, but why not send them through email? A lot of people communicate through
That
emails
would be-
rather
that
than
would
mailing.
be the
Yep.
Then
best
it would be
thing.
instantaneous, they would get it, they could email you back. You could even put, ask for a confirmation that they've read it, you know,
Right.
on that email. So
Right.
you know they've read it, they've
That's a
received
good
it.
idea.
And they can send their bid back as a PDF. There you go.
That's
They
good.
can't
But
do
they
that,
can't
it
have
has to
it
be
sealed.
sealed. They would still have to mail it or drop it off. But they
Okay.
can at least get it and have the information, and you would have that confirmation and a read receipt that they've seen it and they've received it.
I think that's a good idea.
I'll get it on there.
What was that, Dave?
She asked what we're doing with the first one, I said, we haven't gone back to that. one.
Oh,
We're gonna get there.
we'll get there this year, maybe. All right, we've got that covered, I think.
Okay.
Now we'll go back to the two islands.
Concrete.
Yeah, the Hall Creek.
Yeah.
Did we need a motion to put it out to bid again?
I was gonna do it at a later date.
But do we need a motion to do that?
Probably ought to.
I'll move that we, I move that the road commission puts out bids at a later date for these materials.
Support.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Back to the bridge.
Now we're back to the bridge. Who wants to go first?
Our price covers it. Our initial bid, we'll do it for our initial submitted bid price.
Included,
So it'll be a $0 ad.
and that's Mackenzie.
Correct.
I've been told that 3,500 additional for a total of 70,500. Now, does this mean you folks may still cut the piling to grade and set the beams, or you're not going to? You're just exploring what it would cost the contractors to do it.
So actually, we could. See, that wasn't in the bid sheet.
Correct.
Right.
It really can't.
Yeah, that was our question. it was not in the original spec, in the bid sheet.
Right.
Okay,
Do you both anticipate a start date of when the bridge arrives?
When the bridge arrives, I would assume that they would start prior to that, to have it,
correct.
prepped and ready when the bridge deck arrives.
Okay.
And that is, the end of September you're estimating? Is that what you said earlier?
Heather, when,
Late August or early
Late
September.
August and middle September is when the bridge would be delivered to the
Okay.
site.
Late August.
And by bridge, you're including piling in that.
Yes.
Mackenzie would be ready to go whenever you guys are ready for us. We can start tomorrow.
your pleasure.
I move we award the bid to E.T. McKenzie.
Second.
Any discussion?
Was it said that we've dealt with E.T. McKenzie before?
Correct.
Yes.
And I assume we had no problems?
Correct.
How long ago was it?
2 or 3 years.
Few years, I would say, within the last 5.
Any more discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Thank you. Any old business?
I have some questions. So, do we have any update on the territorial road bridges?
That was gonna come in my update that
Okay,
I
well,
skipped over.
Oh, that's one.
Skipped over.
I was gonna come back to your update. Let's do your
Oh,
update.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
maybe
Good
that
cover.
will answer most of the questions that I have.
Right,
I'm sorry.
right, apparently. Pavement marking has begun. I don't know if you guys have been out and about and seen it, but they have started. We're focusing on the northwest quadrant of the county, and we're doing the hub, and then any projects, obviously, like North Adams Road, and that will be done. Actually, North Adams already is done. The territorial road east of Bird Lake Culvert that we're wanting to redo, we've sent the stream bed survey in to Scavina, and he recommends we have to do a little bit of field work to see if the, upstream culvert is perched, or if it's buried more than 6 inches. If it's buried more than 6 inches, then we can put exactly the same size that is currently in there to replace it. If it is not done, then we have to do some extra things to the stream thing to keep that extra flow from going down to, or affecting those additional culverts.
So are you
Yes.
you talking about the culvert that crosses
Bird
Bird Lake
It's east of
Road,
Bird Lake Road, yes, and the culvert that crosses Bird Lake Road,
which
yes.
is north of territorial?
Yes.
They're afraid that if the one up there is perched, then it would cause upstream erosion, washing down, and then that would jeopardize that tube under Bird Lake Road.
Right, it's just gonna do the same exact thing to that one. So he wants us to just go out, confirm how deep that Bird Lake one is buried, and then we can proceed. But it looks like we should be able to replace it with the exact same size that's there. So that's
How long is that tube in there that we need to replace?
How long is it?
Yeah, not how long, how long has it been there?
Oh.
Any idea?
You're over 9.